everyone, Nicole Steckline, Technical Agronomist for DeKalb and Asgrow in Northeast Iowa. As we start going out into our fields here, start scouting for our fungicide and digging roots, there's probably going to be some things that you see out in the field and you go, I wonder what caused that. So I'm going to go through this field, and as I see things, I'm going to point them out and tell you what caused them. So we end up seeing a lot of marks like this, often confused with beginning northern corn leaf blight. However, this is probably just a little bit of injury, a little bit of burn from a herbicide or some of the adjuvants used in that herbicide. Just a little bit of burn. Marks like this also get confused with northern corn leaf blight. However, this leaf, when it was rolled up, was probably had some water, maybe some herbicide down in there, got really hot and really sunny, and it's giving that discoloration. Here's another example of something that gets confused with northern corn leaf blight a lot of the times. Again, this is just herbicide related. This right here is very common in the lower canopy of corn. This actually very easily is confused with gray leaf spot, because gray leaf spot is those rectangular lesions, and these do kind of look rectangular. However, this is not a disease. This is corn leaf blotch minor. These adult flies will come and lay their eggs inside of there and then leave these little marks. So not really something to worry about, and also not a disease, not gray leaf spot. So this is what those Japanese beetles are doing. Because of our dry weather, I have been seeing a lot of Japanese beetles, and they're going to go ahead and kind of scrape off and eat the green tissue of these leaves until the silks come out, and then they're going to go and clip silks, because silks are just so juicy. Speak of the devil, Japanese beetle. So here's a leaf that, again, especially if you hold it up to the sun, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. It almost looks like a little bit of bleaching through that leaf. Again, just like before, that's just caused by this leaf probably got tied up before, got a little bit of damage, had some herbicide or some water sitting in that whirl when it got really hot and sunny. It just caused a little bit of damage there. We've got a plant right here that looks like it kind of has some goofed up growth. And the plant next to it's got kind of some of this leaf issue, discoloration, damage to it. More than likely, this was a stink bug that came in and was puncturing holes early on. Probably punctured this plant further down there, causing it to kind of try and leaf out and tiller. Just kind of messed up its growth. But things like this are probably going to be more stink bug related. All right, corn smut. I've been getting a couple of pictures of this lately. So we've just got smut here. They're called galls. And then it's also infecting other parts of the plant. So this is just a fungal pathogen. Most of our cultivars are going to be fairly resistant, but we are going to see it show up here and there. So some are going to be more resistant than others, but for the most part, the hybrids that are being planted in the state now are sufficiently resistant, so it's not usually a big issue. All right, it has begun, folks. Corn rootworm beetles are starting to emerge. Here's a western. He's a pretty nimble guy. So there's our western adult. Be starting to dig your corn plants for corn rootworm, folks. A lot of the damage has already occurred. There's still some to happen, but if you're going to have a field with a problem, you're going to know it by now. So we talked about the marks that the adult corn leaf blotch minor will do, but this is what the larva. Talked about the little marks on those lower leaves that the adult corn blotch leaf minor will do. This is what that larva does. It's going to tunnel and bore through that leaf, just kind of eating out the delicious chlorophyll part on the inside. So that is also just corn blotch minor. And another rootworm beetle. This has been very pervasive this year just because of the dry weather conditions, but that yellowing on the lower canopy, the yellowing here on the outside leaf margins, that's some potash deficiency. Now, not necessarily because the ground is potash deficient, but because the plant is, whether it's because of restricted root growth or because it's just not getting the water it needs to suck up that potassium. But we are seeing a fair amount of potassium deficiency out there this year. Now, if you're out digging roots and you got your root ball here and you start seeing like big brushes like this. So I'm in corn on corn. We've got a root that's got almost like a brush right here. There's another one over here. This guy right here is kind of some weird growth to them. So this is from rootworm damage. So on a root, the root tip is where that growth is happening at. And if you've got a rootworm that comes and kind of tunnels into this main root right there, it's going to kill that root tip and it's going to stop growing that way. But it will want to continue to keep growing, and so it's going to put off a lot of offshoots, a lot of other fibrous roots off of that main one. Corn leaf aphids. We usually don't see a whole lot of these in such dry years, but doesn't mean they aren't there. So get ready to start seeing these. They're just going to suck the juices out. This kind of perfectly round spot here, it's got a bit of a halo. This is Holcus leaf spot, which is a bacterial disease. Not seeing a whole lot of it this year just because of the dry conditions that we've had, but it's not really a problem. Most of our hybrids have sufficient tolerance to it.